Well, hail and welcome everyone to this week's episode of Midgard Musings. My name is Jesse, and this is my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. This is your first time viewing. This channel is dedicated to various subjects in Norse heathenry, things that I may find interesting at the time. There's also some series type videos that you can find down in the playlist section of this channel. Encourage you to check out all that stuff. If you like the videos, please give them a thumbs up, share them around. Become a subscriber as well if you haven't. The absolutely costs you nothing, and once you click subscribe, make sure you have bell notifications enabled so that way you get notified every time I upload new content. So thank you all for your support. Today's topic of discussion is going to be on the importance of sacrifice, what that means for us as heathens, why we sacrifice, what it means to sacrifice. So we're going to get right into that. Before we get started, I do light a candle and some incense. And actually, before we light the candle and the incense and get into the discussion, let me just call some attention to this really awesome candle holder and incense holder. This was a gift to me from Jim Olafson, who owns and runs the Heathen's Greetings United States, Heathen's Greetings US store. It's an Etsy store. If you Google Heathen's Greetings, there'll be a link down in the description that you guys can check out. But if you're looking to check it out, check out Jim's really awesome handcrafted items. This really is amazing. I'm going to show the folks on Facebook first. You'll see he's got the Midgard Musings vine rune burned into the corners, and around here, sort of on the base of it, is a representation of the Midgard serpent, kind of wrapping itself around this this beautiful piece. Let me just show the folks on YouTube a little bit here too. You guys can see it's a really awesome piece. Thank you very much, Jim, for this. It's going to be a part of the incense burning and candle burning here on the channel. So as we get started on the discussion today, so sacrifice, what we're talking about, or why we do it, the importance of sacrifice for heathens is that we are, we're performing an action, we're doing something that builds a relationship between us and the sacred, the gods, the goddesses, the Vetir of the land, Vetir of the home, our ancestors. It's a gesture that's performed to gift to the gods, or to the deities, to the spirits, in hopes and in to get a gift in return. So it's a gift for a gift. It's a reciprocal action, and it's a very sacred part of practicing heathenry. It's a very important part. This is how we develop the relationships with the gods and goddesses and the Vetir of the land, the home, our ancestors, so on and so forth. You'll hear the term used a lot, bloat, in heathen practices or things that happen. We perform what are called bloats, and this is a ritual sacrifice. In arch-heathen times, the items that were sacrificed to the gods were quite often that of animal. There's instances cited in some of the sagas that horses were sacrificed a lot, and the reason for that, we can determine that what is the reason behind sacrifice. Like I mentioned earlier, it's to gift to the gods, gift to them, so that way we get something back. We're not asking for them to do anything for us. We're gifting to them in hopes that they give us gifts as well. So why were horses sacrificed, in arch-heathen times? You got to think about the meaning behind the gesture, the meaning behind the sacrifice, and that is that it is a giving of something that costs you, and that kind of puts you out in a way. You're giving up of something that is very important. And in arch-heathen times, of course, horses were used for many things. They were used for travel, they were used for farming, and so the sacrificing of such an important thing to the gods carries a lot of weight. So nowadays, obviously, we're not going to necessarily be killing horses or burning horses or eating horse meat necessarily, but animals, in some areas of the world, parts of the country, animal sacrifice may be deemed as an illegal thing. So you definitely want to make sure that you're adhering to your local or governmental bylaws and things that you're not going to be breaking any laws to do. But there are some heathens nowadays that do animal sacrifices, and the thing about animal sacrifices that I kind of want to point out is that again, it's the giving up of something that is important to you, your energy, the to just go out to, let's say, a market and buy a goat or buy a pig or something like that, and then just ritually kill it. There should be more to it than that. I feel there should definitely be some effort put in to raising the animal, nurturing the animal, putting your life force and your energy into the well-being of that animal, so that way when it is sacrificed to the gods, all of that energy is being gifted to them, as well as the animal itself. Other things that are used in sacrifice are anything of value, really. Quite often we will use anything of libations, whether it be wine, beer, mead, things of that nature. Fluids, in general, really are a good way of sacrificing to the gods, because liquids carry a lot of energy in them as well. So you have the actual part of the fluids containing the energy and all that stuff that can go out as you gift them to the gods. Now, I've had some people in the past, reach out to me and ask me, what should I offer as a sacrifice to whoever they may be trying to offer a sacrifice to, whichever god or goddess, or there may be something in specific need or specific reason that the person said, what should I offer to this deity? What should I do? And I've always tried to offer my best insight on those things, but I feel like that is a question that is best answered by the individual themselves, because obviously I can't say, well, you should offer mead to Odin and sacrifice your blood to Odin, and you should sacrifice goat meat to Thor, or you should do a boar or pork or pig meat to Freyr, or other things. Yes, those things may carry a lot of weight in the gifting process, because these are things that are quite often associated with those deities specifically. But the item, to me, is not so much important as the gesture and what it is behind the gifting or the sacrificing. Which is why I feel that, if you're going to offer something to the gods, it should be something that means something and costs you something, and you're no longer going to be benefiting from it after it's offered. So it could be some of the best meat, it could be some of the best meat that you can provide, it could be fruits or vegetables that you've grown, anything that costs you something to give. That is where the intent behind it, to me, is where the importance of sacrifice lies in. It doesn't really mean so much what you're offering as it is what comes from the offering, your intent. So going back to that, I've seen some people say, well, I don't drink. I'm maybe a recovering alcoholic. I don't consume alcohol, and so therefore, to get to consume it or to do that, that's not something. What else can I give? And then, like I said, it really goes back to, well, what's going to cost you something. It doesn't have to be mead per se, even though traditionally it's used. You don't necessarily have to consume it. It's obviously going to cost you money to get it, unless you make it yourself, which is even better, because again, that's a handcrafted thing. It's all your time, your energy, your effort has been put into that, product, and so therefore the gifting of it, whether you consume it yourself or not during the sacrifice, I feel like a gift like that would carry a lot of weight. So I've done various things for various reasons for sacrifices, whether it be for the gods, or whether it be to the land, Batir, my house whites, my ancestors, anything that, if it's the last of something that I enjoy. If I enjoy something that I have in the home, a food item, a drink, anything like that, if it's cost me something and I enjoy it and it's the last of it, I'm giving to them the last and the best of what I have, and I'm no longer enjoying it. Other things that have kind of been used, historically to sacrifice to the gods have been, possessions, jewelry, weapons, things like that. Things that can no longer be used and enjoyed by you. So again, the whole theme of the act of the sacrifice is to bring about the effort, the connecting with the gods, and giving everything that you have that means something to you to them, to receive something in return. Once those things are gone and they can't be used by you anymore, all of that energy that you had in it, everything that you were able to enjoy from it previously, has now been sent out to the sacred. And you'll know when you gift and when you sacrifice to the gods and to the ancestors and to your whites of the land or the home, you will know when those gifts are received well. That's not something that I think really anybody can say for sure, what you will get, what sort of sign or omen that you'll get after performing the sacrifice, but you will know. That will be something that was received well. So sacrificing to the gods, sacrificing to your whites, the land and the home and your ancestors, is something that is very, very important as heathens, because this is how we communicate to our sacred figures. We don't pray in the sense of just speaking out into the void and hoping that we get something in return and then not doing anything about it ourselves to kind of facilitate that. There is a great difference between praying or prayer and gifting or sacrificing. The deed is what carries the most weight. The action is what carries the most weight. And that can maybe be another thing that we talk about, prayer in heathenry. Because a lot of people will sometimes argue the fact that we don't pray to our gods. There's some historical, there's definitely historical things in some of the sagas and some of the stories that would argue the fact that prayer was done, but maybe not in the way that we would think of it. We're not sitting, kneeling before our altars, and we're not humbling ourselves and asking for things that we are not then taking action on our own part to get those things. I think our communication with the gods and goddesses and the various figures of our pantheon and all the other spirits that are the whites, ancestors, all of that, our communication with them is much more personal in a sense. We're not, like I said, just praying out into the void. We're actually reaching out to them and connecting with them in a way that gives us that bond where we're tying those webs together. Okay. So I'm kind of very curious to hear how everybody else's view on sacrifice is. What your, if you're willing to kind of elaborate on what you do as a sacrifice. You don't have to go into a whole lot of detail because, again, that is something very personal. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about it. How important is it for you in your practices now, when you do your rituals and things like that? How often do you feel sacrifice is important? What do you sacrifice? Anything like that you want to get into? I'd love to hear everybody's kind of thoughts and insights on it all. So that kind of wraps up this evening's discussion. It wasn't a very long one, but it is an important one. And let me know what you guys think. Go down in the comment section. Drop your thoughts and your opinions. If you haven't already, you're going to see this floating Midgard Musings emblem that appears right here at the end of the video, along with some other related content, other videos that you can check out. Definitely become a subscriber, enable bell notifications, click on all the videos, check them out, let me know what you guys think. Everybody that's watching live on Facebook, don't go away just yet, so way I can have some dialogue with you. We'll talk for another few minutes or so. Everybody that watched today, thank you so much again for your support, and I will see you all again in next week's video. Hail.